In this video, we've compiled some of the angriest moments on Pawn Stars. So without further ado, let's dive in. Number 5. Elvis Presley contract.
I have a contract here signed by Elvis Presley in 1955, and of course this was back when nobody knew anything about him.
An old woman visited Rick Harrison's pawn shop with a valuable item she wanted to pawn. She presented a contract signed by Elvis Presley in 1955 during the early years of his career when he was relatively unknown. Rick engaged in negotiations with the woman, expressing his curiosity about her fandom for Elvis and acknowledging the singer's influence on rock and roll.
I'm here at the pawn shop today to try and sell my contract that is signed by Elvis Presley. I want to sell the contract for $8,000 to $10,000, hopefully.
Rick showed interest in the contract, highlighting its historical significance and rarity. However, he emphasized the need to verify its authenticity before determining its true worth. Discussing the contract, Rick uncovered that it pertained to a performance by Elvis at the City Auditorium in Beaumont, Texas on June 20th and 21st, 1955. The contract, bearing Elvis's signature, indicated that he was only 20 years old at the time and was earning $225 per night, a substantial amount for that era.
Anything signed by someone really famous, I have to get checked out. So let me get someone in here to check this signature out. If this contract's legit, it's a gold mine.
The expert arrived, examining the document closely for signs of authenticity. Notably, the typewritten text in the middle of the line and the simplicity of Elvis's signature aligned with characteristics of genuine signatures from that period. However, upon closer inspection, it was discovered that the contract was a copy made on a Xerox machine, rendering it devoid of value.
Machine copy, Xerox machine. It's not original ink.
Disappointing. Very disappointing.
The woman expressed her heartbreak and disappointment as she had hoped the contract would provide a much-needed financial solution. She thanked Rick for his efforts, but left the shop feeling emotionally devastated by the outcome.
It's a carbon copy, and unfortunately, not being original, it has no real value.
I'm heartbroken, completely.
This makes me feel terrible when this happens, someone especially as sweet as you.
Number 4. Abraham Lincoln photograph.
I'd like to sell a picture of Mary and Abraham Lincoln from, I believe, 1863.
I thought Abe only took photos by himself. What are you talking about?
Oh, he's right about that.
Mark wanted to sell an 1863 picture of Mary and Abraham Lincoln. He approached the shop and encountered Chumley and Rick. Mark stated that the photo was part of a collection of unidentified photographs featuring Mary and Abraham together. Intrigued by the nature of the picture, Rick expressed interest and mentioned that it was an ambrotype. Mark revealed that he obtained the picture from a collector but lacked documentation. Despite this, he was confident that it was genuine.
This was part of a collection of 11 photographs that were unidentified, and it substantiated the importance of the collection because it had Mary and Abraham Lincoln together.
Mark asked for an exorbitant price of $1 million, which surprised Rick. To settle his doubts, Rick decided to call in an expert, Maureen, to appraise the photograph. Maureen examined the picture and noticed some discrepancies in the facial features of Abraham Lincoln, such as his nose and eyes. She used facial recognition software and confirmed that the picture was fake.
It resizes the head so
Because
that...
I use a caliper, and I check the eyes, and they're a match.
But you can see that this woman has sort of a different eyebrows.
Mark became defensive and questioned Maureen's expertise and methods. He argued that he had been in the business for a long time and considered various factors, including clothing and background. The discussion became heated, with Mark attacking Maureen's professionalism. Eventually, Mark took back his photograph, acknowledging their disagreement. Rick thanked Maureen for her evaluation, and the interaction came to an end.
A lot of people come to me saying that they have...
They'll be coming to me in 10 years.
I know, you think this is worth $1 million. It's not Abraham Lincoln.
Number 3. Sammy Mosley guitar.
This is Sammy Mosley's personal Blue Gospel guitar prototype.
Dr. Hal brought his personal Sammy Mosley Blue Gospel prototype guitar to the shop. He explained that it was no ordinary guitar. This one was Sammy Mosley's personal Blue Gospel guitar prototype, acquired directly from the renowned entrepreneur and gospel musician Mosley back in the 1960s. Sammy Mosley was a highly esteemed gospel musician who also founded the esteemed Mosrite Guitar Company. Dr. Hal proudly revealed that he had obtained this guitar directly from Mosley 44 years ago, making it an extremely rare and valuable piece.
Sammy Mosley was a great gospel musician. I got this guitar directly from Sammy Mosley 44 years ago. I know it's really rare, so it's worth a lot of money.
Rick, amazed by the guitar's origins, learned that Mosley had assembled most of the guitar himself, and it was in impeccable condition with all the necessary documents. However, Rick questioned why it was considered a prototype. Dr. Hal explained that during a guitar convention in Europe, Mosley met a Spanish luthier who was constructing flamenco guitars with violin joints. Impressed by their remarkable tone, Mosley believed that gospel musicians should have an instrument that sings when they perform the Lord's work. Thus, the prototype gospel guitar was born.
He met a Spanish luthier who was building flamenco guitars with violin joints, and they had such a remarkable tone. Gospel musicians should have something that sings.
Dr. Hal presented all the paperwork to authenticate the guitar's rarity, including its listing in the Celebrity Registry as the 009-1965 Gospel Prototype Blue Sammy Mosley's personal gospel guitar. With confidence, Dr. Hal asked for a hefty sum of $100,000. Rick, intrigued by the instrument's uniqueness, wanted to consult his expert before making a decision. However, Dr. Hal asserted his expertise, having owned and studied the guitar continuously since 1969, and being the industry expert on this specific model. Despite Dr. Hal's confidence, Rick insisted on seeking an unbiased opinion from his expert, Jesse.
Let me give a buddy of mine a call.
I welcome that. However, you should know, since I've had this guitar since 1969, I am considered the industry expert on this guitar.
Jesse was amazed by the guitar and acknowledged its rarity, confirming Dr. Hal's claims. However, he assessed that a more realistic selling price in today's guitar market would be $25,000. Dr. Hal vehemently rejected this appraisal, stating that the guitar was valued at $100,000 in the 90s alone and insured for the same amount. A disagreement between Jesse and Dr. Hal ensued, with Jesse sharing his professional experiences and knowledge. However, Dr. Hal adamantly held on to his opinions, leading Jesse to withdraw from the discussion to avoid a confrontation. Ultimately, Rick decided not to make an offer and backed out of the deal as he found Dr. Hal's valuation unrealistic.
It's absolutely ridiculous because back in the 90s, it was appraised at a minimum of $100,000.
I don't think anybody's going to step up that high for it.
Number 2. Hudson Bay Gorge.
Got a Hudson Bay Gorge made probably around the 1700s.
Chris arrived at the pawn shop with the intention of pawning his Hudson Bay Gorge, which he believed to be from the 1700s. He hoped to get a significant amount, around $100,000, but knew he would have to see what the owner offered. The Gorget was inherited from his father, who had obtained it at an auction and had even taken out a second mortgage on their house to acquire it.
I don't know a whole lot about it. My dad actually got it. He picked it up at an auction.
Do you know what he paid for it?
A second mortgage on his house.
Chris mentioned his desire for $100,000, but Rick didn't think it was worth anywhere near that amount. He pointed out flaws that suggested it was a remake, causing Chris to become furious. Rick offered him $1,000, which Chris outright refused.
For about $100,000.
I don't see that happening. I think it's worth a lot less.
Disappointed and feeling lowballed, Chris decided to leave, expressing his frustration that Rick saw him as a punk kid and didn't make a deal.
I'd offer you $1,000.
I don't know what you're smoking, man, but that's not gonna work. That guy, I think he just thinks I'm some punk kid wanting to lowball me.
Number 1. 1958 Sea Flight Glastron.
I came down to the pawn shop today to sell my 1958 Glastron Sea Flight. I'd like to get $10,500 for that boat.
A person arrived at the pawn shop with a boat he wanted to sell, so Rick and his son Chum decided to check it out. The boat turned out to be a 1958 Sea Flight Glastron, designed to resemble a '57 Chevy. The seller mentioned that he wanted to sell it for $10,500 because it was a unique and rare boat. The boat had historical significance as it was made in 1958 by a company called Glastron, and there were only around 150 of these boats remaining.
It looks just like a '57 Chevy I got for the old man's birthday.
The boat's design was influenced by the popular style of the time, with fins and a rocket-like appearance, reflecting the fascination with the emerging space race. Despite the boat's appealing aesthetics, Rick acknowledged the challenges of selling boats and the need for a profitable deal. He pointed out flaws like the paint job and the lack of the original motor, which affected its value. Rick was hesitant to make an offer due to the extensive work required and the limited profit potential.
But it's still all about making money, and there's no money here for me. There's too much work that's got to be done for me to make anything.
The seller expressed disappointment with Rick's assessment, feeling insulted by the comments about the boat's flaws. He believed the boat still had a great look, but Rick didn't see it as a lucrative opportunity. Ultimately, Rick thanked the seller for bringing it in, but declined to make an offer, citing the amount of work and lack of profit potential.
He was basically insulting me.
On Pawn Stars, sometimes the rarest items are brought in by customers, but Rick and his team often don't recognize the true potential of items. You won't want to miss out on our video, Pawn Stars Deals They Regret Not Taking. Click here to watch.